hello. Apologize for being a little late today. You were in the right place to hear some music. I hope you enjoy the music, the stream today. I'm going to start off with a little Doc Watson. Okay, so I'll play a tune that I released about a week ago now. It's called The Fish, which is named after my son. That's his nickname, The Fish. And he was featured in the video I put out. You might have noticed him adjusting some knobs in the studio. It's his favorite thing to do. I'm my apprentice sound engineer. Great to be with you. We've got some familiar names. I see Scott Peck there. Chester on Facebook. G'day Chester, hope you're well. Holly is in China. Hi Holly. Tim is in Detroit. Paolo, how you doing Paolo? Good to see you. Let us know in the comments where you're tuning in from. Yvonne is in Canada. Carol is in Granite, Maryland, I believe. Jan is in Connecticut. Can you play Fireflies, please? Yeah, that's a great suggestion. Thank you, Jan. I'll play that in a couple tunes. I got a capo one now, but I'll play Fireflies for you in just a moment. Okay. Great to be back with you for another stream. Sorry again, I was late. It's my fault. Technical issues. 1, 2, 3, 4. fun things about live streams is it's real and raw, and you can hear it without any sheen. so if you hear a few mistakes or wrong notes, I'm just kind of making sure you're paying attention. That's what Jerry Reed used to say. Let me know in the comments if you wouldn't mind. If it sounds okay where you are, I'd appreciate that, because I'm mixing as I go here. Okay, well, how about I play a song that I think I played it a couple streams ago, maybe last stream. It's called Do You Want It To Be Me? I just thought that might be a nice thing. I know Rob up in Canada likes this song, and he said you were going to watch the stream tomorrow, Rob, so maybe you'll be seeing this. Hope all's well. We should take it slow, 'cause I know only fools rush in, and I've been here before, and I can tell that you haven't been. I see it in your eyes, girl. There's no denying I can feel the heat. There's only one first love. Do you want it to be me? There's only one first kiss, one first dance, and one first time you'll get to take this chance. And the heart's first choice ain't always what it should be. There's only one first love. Do you want it to be me? There's only one first kiss, one first dance, and one first time you'll get to take this chance. And the heart's first choice ain't always what it should be. There's only one first love. Do you want it to be me? Thank you very much. That song is from the Undertones album that I released in 2018. It's hard to believe that was a number of years ago now. Feels like it was only a couple. It seems the general consensus is the sound is pretty good, so I appreciate that very much. And yep, I did write that song. I wrote it with my friend Blue Miller, who we lost a few years, maybe 3 or 4 years ago now. I loved Blue very much, and yeah, we wrote that song. And it's a nice tune to play. So thanks very much for being with us for the stream. We got Facebook and YouTube represented this evening. I didn't have time to hook up Instagram as well, so we're Instagramless right now. Darren says, "What year is that guitar? What a beaut! It's a great guitar. It's from 1943, It's a Gibson L00, and I've been using it for some recording, and it's really records very well. This is my daily driver. This is my Maton. This guitar is made in Australia. The tone woods are Tasmanian myrtle. Back inside, you can see it's got a really nice grain. I've had this guitar since 2011. You can see how it's been played. All the finish on the back of the neck's worn off pretty much. And it's due for a new set of frets, reasonably soon. It's been, over 14 years now. So there you go. Okay, so I had a request from Jan to play Fireflies. So this one's for you, Jan. Thank you very much. Just double checking my tuning. Okay, here we go. Thank you very much for the request, Jan. That was Fireflies, my song from the Time Jumpin' album. Way back in 2008, that song is from. Somewhere around that time period anyway. If you're enjoying the music, I do have a tip jar, and the tip jar link is joerobinson.com/tipjar, TIPJAR. If you would like to leave a tip, thank you very much. It's not required to watch the show. But anyone who chooses to leave a tip, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. It does mean a lot. So I saw a couple of requests there, and one of them was for the prize. So I'm going to play that. Thank you very much for requesting it. I missed the comment that went by. I think the comment said something like, I would like to know if the song has a story behind it. And, I was thinking about this today, actually. Sometimes, if I'm thinking about when I wrote the prize, the song, I wrote it with my friend Brent Mayer, who's a great producer, and we that the prize is not just a song, it's an album. And if I'm thinking about if I'm trying to remember what we were thinking about during the writing session, I honestly can't remember. And I think that's when the best songs are written, is when you're just channeling something. It's not like you have this grand idea to write a song about this, and then you like kind of had this premeditated thing that you're going for. Sometimes you just have a kind of a vibe and an idea. And for me, it's kind of like it's a song about determination. But to be more specific than that would be to read my own mind back when I was writing the song. And that's difficult to do in hindsight. So anyway, it might mean something to you. It might mean something different to me. And I think that's okay. So here we go. This is the prize. 1, 2, 3, 4. I had a one-word conversation with me, myself, and I about the way we've been living. Can't imagine why. To get to where we're going, it's a cloud of compromise. You're mistaking everything I'm taking. My eyes off the prize. Maybe I've been distracted, quite possibly alright. This big old bright and shining world has kept me up at night. But we all know that price tag shouldn't come as no surprise. You're mistaking everything I'm taking. My eyes off the prize. Some days I live with no regrets. Some days I just as soon forget. Some days a diamond, some a stone. Some things I just as soon leave alone. So where does all this leave me? I can't really say I know. I got more questions than answers, quite a ways to go. Can't let that deter me. This I realize. You're mistaking everything I'm taking. My eyes off the prize. Some days I live with no regrets. Some days I just as soon forget it. Some days a diamond, some a stone. Some things I just as soon leave alone. I had a one-way conversation with me, myself, and I about the way we've been living. Can't imagine why. To get to where we're going, it's a clouded compromise. You're mistaking everything I'm taking. My eyes off the prize. My eyes off the prize. My eyes off the prize. Thank you very much. Well, Cody has an interesting comment. He says, "Well, you're insanely good. How even when live do you nail it? Practice, I presume." That's an interesting observation, because I personally, when I'm playing, I don't feel I'm nailing it. Hardly ever. And sometimes if I play a gig and I come off stage and I think, man, I nailed that, then I'll have someone say, it wasn't my favorite gig I've ever seen you do. Like the gig a couple nights ago was better. And I was like, man, but I was playing like, I was really not playing my best then. But the way the audience hears it is sometimes different than the performer. And that's a really interesting thing that I think about a lot. Because if I'm too comfortable up here and I'm just like, oh yeah, I got everything perfectly happening, then it's kind of boring a little bit. So if I'm struggling a little bit, maybe it's with the sound, maybe it's with, trying a new song I don't know very well, then sometimes that's more interesting to watch, I think. So I think it is practice, and I love to practice. It's my favorite thing in the world. But I think one of the things you're hearing is that I've spent a long time just refining my playing such that I hear all the little inconsistencies and details that are not perfect to me, but you don't necessarily hear them, which is great. It means I've kind of gotten past the point of getting all the notes to happen, but the fine articulation of every note is something that it's never hunting for it. And sometimes I coach a lot of guitar students at invisibletechnique.com, which is my teaching site, and oftentimes people will say to me, Joe, when I play, I just hear all the, I can hear that my timing's not great, and I can hear that the notes are not all there, and I can hear that I feel a bit of tension, and I say, those are really good. It's really good that you can tell and you can hear those things, because that's the mark of someone who can become a really highly refined musician, is when you become aware of those things. So anyway, I'm not going to rant and rave too much. I want to play music during this stream, but thanks very much for the comment. And I've been playing since I was pretty young, and I still love it. I was outside with my son today playing guitar in the chicken coop, not in the coop, but in the chicken run, and he's just obsessed with the chickens and the ducks right now. He just keeps pointing at them and going quack, quack, quack. It's very funny. Anyway, Melissa is requesting Summer Over the Rainbow. I can play that, Melissa. Thanks for the request. That's a really nice idea. Let me see if I can get some reverb going here. I'll just give me one moment to get my sound dialed in. There it is. Okay. Thank you very much for the request, Melissa. It's a song I really enjoy playing. Still, after all the time that I've played it, it's just a timeless classic, obviously. And just a disclaimer, I did not write that song. Sometimes I say that on stage and the audience laughs. These days, if I'm playing to an online audience, I can't really tell if you're laughing. Sometimes I read the comments and someone will pick up on a little thing I say. Happy. So I see a comment there about Django Reinhardt songs. Joshua says, "Hey Joe, amazing playing. Just curious what you think of Django Reinhardt. Have you ever considered arranging one of his songs as a fingerstyle piece, like Nuages or Le Noir?" Excuse my pronunciation. Django Reinhardt is one of my top 5 all-time guitar heroes. He is one of my favorite players of any style. I absolutely love his playing. The flair, the fire, the personality, everything, the rhythm, everything about his playing was spectacular to me. I just love his playing. But the songs don't really make for an easy fingerstyle guitar arrangement because the form of gypsy swing music is typically an AABA head, kind of like a jazz standard, and then a bunch of solos, and then they repeat the head at the end. That's typically what happens, and it's a great music because it's very it's very fun to jam on. And that's a big part of the gypsy music culture is jamming. And I've gotten to jam with a lot of great gypsy musicians over the years, and it's so much fun playing those tunes. Like those tunes. It's so much fun to play, but because it's just kind of a form and then a bunch of soloing, it doesn't really make for a great solo piece. At least it's quite difficult to arrange those pieces and make a full arrangement out of them. So that's why I haven't done it. That's why a lot of people haven't done it. So there we go. Someone says, we're laughing. I'm glad about that. Last week, I got this thing where I don't like telling people what to do, and I don't like being told what to do. It was my dad said that to me one time. He said, Joe, I don't like being told what to do, so I try not to tell other people what to do. And someone said to play the other guitar I had on the wall last week, and I said, don't tell me what to do. And someone said that made them just crack up laughing. You had to be there. It was a timing thing, but I'm glad I'm glad someone out there is laughing. We got Japan tuning in. May I request Dizzy Fingers by Chet? I don't play that one. I should learn it. Some of the most fun I've had playing the guitar has been learning Chet Atkins and Jerry Reed songs. Those guys are just still my heroes. So, Kane says, how's the studio coming along, mate? I'm looking at recording my music too nowadays. Yeah, my studio is functional, and I've been putting out some songs. I've put out 4 songs this year so far. I've put out The Rush, the electric version, Flow, solo guitar performance of me playing by the river, which you might have seen. I have a version of Flow with a band playing a really beautiful vintage Les Paul. That's a very valuable instrument. I played it for a charity purpose. And then last week I released a song called The Fish, and I have another song coming in another 10 days, 2 weeks I think. I'm on this kind of content schedule where I release a song, and then I release a lesson video of some kind, and then I do a live stream. So every 3 weeks I'm hoping to do a live stream. That's the schedule I'm kind of looking at. So hopefully that feels like a good balance for anyone who likes to tune into these regularly. My focus is definitely on releasing new music, because I've got so many songs that I haven't recorded properly, and it's fun to have the studio to do that. So that's what you can expect from me. So new songs. I'd like to play a song. Just trying to figure out what it is. Mike is requesting What a Wonderful World. Yeah, that sounds like a nice idea. Thank you, Mike. Just changing my settings a little bit here. Going for the jazz tone now. Didn't write that one either. Of course, you know that. That's What a Wonderful World. One of the most beautiful pieces ever written, if you ask me. I love playing it, so thanks very much for the request. Scott says, the last tweak was a good one. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate that. I have a little API EQ here, and you know, every time I do these streams, I get ideas of how to make it more ergonomic for myself, and now I have some knobs here I can twist in real time to get a bit of a different sound, and I have other ideas of how to do that. For anyone who doesn't know, I have this camera switcher that I operate with my left big toe, and it's a very particular method. You can't wear socks when you do it, so I have my left toe hitting the camera switcher, and I have it dialed in, so I have the touch just right, and I kind of have it subconsciously now, so that if I go to like the bridge of a song, I'll be like, okay, you want the close-up angle now. So anyway, this is all good fun. It's a bit of a different skill set than playing a live concert, but the commute, you can't beat the commute. I see but I do have that little issue with the microphone popping. I'm gonna grab a pop filter over here really quick. I see a question from Holly there that I wanted to address. Hey Joe, how do you keep your passion on the guitar after years of playing? Any tip? Well, it's a really good question. I would say for me, the thing that keeps me excited about playing is writing and arranging and creating things, kind of being like productive on the guitar. And I mean, like actually producing songs and new recordings, new pieces. I truly enjoy that process. Excuse me for the sound. Yep, that's a horrible noise, but forgive me. I really enjoy coming up with new pieces. I love writing songs, and to me, all the practice and all the technique. You may have heard me speak a lot about technique, and a lot of my YouTube videos are about technique. All that is for a purpose, which is to make music with. So I just love that whole process. So that's a big part of it for me. I do know a lot of people who don't write their own songs and come up with their own arrangements, and they just enjoy playing guitar for guitar's sake, and I think that's totally valid as well. And there's no shortage of great pieces to learn and pieces to play, and I'm always encouraging people to perform if you can, no matter who it's for, with the exception of generally playing for family members. Isn't the best audience for a number of reasons, but if you can play for people at play at a nursing home, play on a street corner, which is a great way to practice, by the way, busking. I used to do that all the time. Performing, no matter your skill level, you never know who you might inspire, and especially if you have limited skills, someone else might watch you and think, oh wow, look at them up there playing this simple song that is not particularly complicated, but everyone loves the song, bringing music to people. That's an inspiring thing. So I feel that performing and sharing music with people is part of the whole like what I love about music. I don't want to say the point of music, but it's a big part of it for me. So I think that keeps me going, and yeah, there are times where I'm focused on other things and I'm not playing as much guitar, and I'm usually a bit antsy when that's the case. But I don't think you can be just like kind of practicing 12 hours a day for like your whole life kind of thing. You have to kind of have waves of inspired times and waves of doing other things. But anyway, it's all for the individual's journey. Daniel says, to add on to the question, do you ever feel like you plateau? Whatever that happens to me, I just try to increase the difficulty. I find harder songs. Any thoughts? Yeah, it's a great question. I remember when I was younger and I was really tenaciously trying to get better on the guitar. I used to think, okay, once I feel like I can play like the blues well, I'm gonna learn jazz, and then once I feel like I can play jazz pretty well, like I'm feeling pretty good about where I'm at with that, I'll go on and learn some gypsy swing kind of playing, and then I'll kind of learn some bluegrass playing, and then I'll if you learn something in a different genre that's the one you've been playing, that's a great way to push yourself. And still to this day, I'm thinking to myself, man, I'd love to dive into Brazilian music. I'd love to dive into Cuban music and flamenco. Like there's so many different types of music that I've never really explored. But I feel that you do plateau in terms of, I always felt like there was a point I wanted to get to with my playing where I can play whatever I want to play. Like the technique can execute whatever I want. And I've gotten to that place on a good day, but not every day is a good day. In fact, it's hardly ever a good day. Kind of maintaining that level of technique is a real challenge, and that's kind of one of my challenges right now. Recording and playing, a lot of new material does help. But for me, the technique has a limit, and there's a certain physical limit that we have, but there's always new techniques we can learn, and there's always new things we can add to that kind of bag of tricks. But for me, the creativity that I'm interested in is in the music and in the production and all of those things, rather than some novel technique thing. So that's just where I'm at, but that may change. But yeah, I think it's going to be a different journey for everyone. Anyway, that's enough talking for me. I try not to just ramble on these streams. I have a community that I host Zoom calls every month, and Invisible Technique Coaching Community is the name of it. And sometimes I talk for 3.5 hours about just answering questions about music and practice, and I really do enjoy it. But I do realize this is an audience of more than just guitar players. So Eric says, thanks, Joe, for the recent lesson you put out on Cannonball Ride. So helpful and inspiring. Appreciate that, Eric. It's a great tune to play. It's a great tune to work on your stamina, fingerstyle stamina. I play that song a lot. So Dale Boyle says, hope all is well with you, Joe. Great playing as always. What are your favorite pieces of electric acoustic gear these days? Well, thanks, Dale. Great to hear from you. I was reading Daniel Levitin's book recently. It's a wonderful book to anyone out there who's looking for a book to read. It's called I Heard There Was a Secret Chord, and I think the title in a few other countries, such as England and Australia, is slightly different. Music is Medicine, I think, is the other title. I bought a copy for my mum. That's why I know there's a different title in Australia, at least. But Dale, you're mentioned in Daniel's book. I'm sure you know that, but he speaks about connecting with you up there in Montreal. So I hope all is well. What are your favorite pieces of acoustic electric gear these days, you asked? So I'm pretty I'm pretty set in my ways with my acoustic electric rig in terms of my performance rig. I use a Maton guitar. These are made in Australia, and they have an incredible pickup system that is really a fantastic sound. Herbert Music there in Quebec has some of these guitars, including my signature guitar, if you want to experience it. And I use the DaCapo 75 amp. DaCapo, D-A and Capo amp. And it's based on the AER amp. Actually, Udo Rosner, who runs the DaCapo company, he created AER and designed the AER amp. So it's very much in the spirit of the AER type amps. And a Maton and an AER amp is the same, AER type amp, AER or the DaCapo is the same rig that Tommy Emmanuel plays. And when I first heard him play, I was like, man, that sounds awesome. And so he inspired me with that, and I've really found that to be a great acoustic electric kind of rig. But that might not have been what you were asking. In terms of other studio related discoveries, I've been playing this old Gibson a lot. It's a 1943 L00 guitar, and I've been experimenting with using a condenser microphone and a ribbon microphone together, and I recorded a piece that I put out a week ago called The Fish, which you can check out if you want, and I used the condenser and a ribbon microphone, and I was like, whoa, I never want to record without a ribbon again, because it really has a punchiness that I just love. So very much into recording like that these days. Tori Wells says, Joe, do you remember your first paid gig? You know, I do. So anyway, just to finish up, Dale, I hope all is well, and great to hear from you, and really nice to see your name. And yeah, I got a chuckle reading your name in the Daniel Levitin book. So, do I remember my first paid gig? I do. So I was about 11 years old, and this may not be my first paid gig, but it's like my first real paid gig in my mind. So I was about 11 years old, and I was playing with a band of kids my own age. We were all 10 and 11, and we played songs like Money by Pink Floyd and a lot of kind of classic rock, slightly psychedelic, long guitar solos, that kind of thing. We had strobe lights, and like I would do 20-minute solos that was my favorite thing to do, is just like pentatonic scale it up. There was a local singer that came and played at a local pub, and the local pub, my dad used to ride his horse there and tie it up out front. It's very like kind of like old school pub, and in Australia, the pub culture was very alive and strong. So when someone would come to play the local pub, everyone would go and see them. And so this singer came through. Her name was Texas Rose, and she had a very vast repertoire. She has a voice kind of like Janis Joplin, like a real raspy, beautiful, powerful voice, and she's very much known for that. So she played at our local pub, and someone got talking with her during the break and said, "Oh, there's this kid Joe, and he's like 12 or 11 or something, and he plays guitar really well. Would it be possible to get him up on stage? Because I think the locals would love that." And she said, "Oh, sure. Come on, Joe, did you bring a guitar?" And I said, "Oh, of course. I always have my guitar in the car." And so I set up my guitar and my little amp, and I jammed with Texas Rose. And sorry, this is taking a while for anyone who doesn't care, but I got up there with Texas Rose, and she had me sit in for the whole show. And she soon found out that I could kind of keep an eye on the chords and hear where the song was going. And I had a bit of experience with that, so I had an easy time sitting in with her. And she said, "Joe, would you like to come and play with me at the Tamworth Country Music Festival?" And I said, "I would love that. That'd be so much fun." And basically she paid me $1,000 to play 10 gigs. So I went to this country music festival, and we played 10 sets, 10 4-hour sets in all these bars around town at the Tamworth Country Music Festival. In some of the bars, I had to actually play outside the window with my guitar cable through the window, because they wouldn't let me in the pub. That was a big problem back then. But anyway, that was my first like real paid gig. I remember making $1,000, and I came home and I bought myself an amp. Anyway, that's my story. So Jeff says, checking in from Southern Oregon. Plateaus. I started playing at 14, and by 25 I was considered a hot finger picker. I hit a plateau and never was able to get better. I'm now 78 and looking to break out. Yeah, I think, well, with my teaching, I'm usually focused on repertoire. It's a big focus for me, and learning new songs is probably what I would do. is finding some great tunes to learn, whether they're tunes of yours or great songs you've always wanted to learn. That's always a satisfying thing to do. So anyway, Gina says, request Affirmation. Your version's a masterpiece. Thank you so much, Gina. That's a really nice idea. I'll play Affirmation. I'm gonna play it on this Maton because it's a bit easy to play. This is a tune that was written by Jose Feliciano, but George Benson recorded it on his 1976, I think, album called Breezin', which is such a great album, such an incredible sounding album. I was listening to it the other day, actually. It's just such a beautifully recorded record. Al Schmidt was the recording engineer, and I enjoyed reading his book. I think it's called On the Record, Al Schmidt. And he speaks about when George Benson came in to record this Masquerade, which was a big hit for him. He did it in one take, apparently, and Al barely had the microphone level set when George started singing it, and it was like the first take was just perfect. George Benson was one of the greatest guitar players ever to play. He still is wonderful, but man, those early records are something else. So this is Affirmation. Thanks for the request, Gina. So I had the idea to arrange that song. I used to play it with a little jazz combo when I was in Australia. And basically that version's pretty funky. It just goes... And the band's kind of grooving away for us. And the bass line of that song goes like this. So my idea was to combine with the bass line. So that's kind of what's going on in that piece. It's pretty hard to play. So there we go. I had a request earlier for Fine Line, so I'll play that tune. And I'll just add that I have a tip jar for this live stream. So if you enjoy the music and you want to leave a tip, you can go to joerobinson.com/tipjar. It should be linked below this video, and you can leave a tip. I very much appreciate that if you are feeling inclined to do so. Thank you. Okay, Fine Line. Hey Joe from Ottawa, amazing playing. Thank you so much. Are you planning on touring in Canada anytime soon? Unfortunately not. I'm going to be up in Michigan, in the Upper Peninsula. I don't think that show's been announced yet, but I'm doing a show up there in, I think, July or June in the summer in the UP. So if you feel like coming down, I guess that's a bit of a ways from Ottawa, but same general vicinity in my mind. Okay, here's Fine Line. It's a fine line that we walk every day. There's a right and a wrong in everything we do and say. It's a fine line, it runs through the heart of every woman, man and child, and everyone's got to do their part. It's a fine, fine line. It's a fine, fine line between the good and the bad, the truth and a fad. It's a fine, fine line. It's a fine line that we dance in our dreams, all alone in the dark where we plan our secret schemes. And it's a fine line, those rules by we play. We slide them, we move them and lose them without shades of gray. It's a fine, fine line. It's a fine, fine line between a win and a loss, the worth and the cost. It's a fine, fine line. When you do, when you don't, it's a fine line. When you will, when you won't, it's a fine line. Between pleasure and pain, it's a fine line. What you lose, what you gain, it's a fine, fine line. It's a fine, fine line. It's a fine, fine line between the good and the bad, the truth and a fad, a win and a loss, the worth and the cost, the rise and the fall. Do you risk it all? It's a fine, Thank you very much. Holly says, may I ask, is this live a more regular thing now, once a month? I just don't want to miss it. Well, thank you very much, Holly. I'm planning on doing these once every 3 weeks. That's my current schedule. That's subject to change. I don't want to box myself into a corner where I'm overcommitted. But right now I'm putting out one song every 3 weeks, a new song that has a video with it and it's, nicely recorded. That you can listen to on Spotify, and it's on YouTube and all the usual places. And then one lesson video on YouTube every 3 weeks. And then one live stream every 3 weeks. So it's kind of this rotating thing where 1 week there's a song, 1 week there's a lesson, 1 week there's a live stream. And that seems like a sustainable workload for me. And I know from my experience posting things online that you kind of need to be somewhat consistent in order to appease the algorithm and have people kind of regularly tune in, which would be nice. So that's my current plan. And if you're interested in being notified when I do a live stream, I have an email list just for that. It's linked below this video. It should say live stream reminders or live stream emails. Basically, I send out an email before I do a stream. In this case, I sent it this morning, and I say, this is the time I'm going live, this is the link, and here's a link to convert to your time zone if you want. And it's simple as that. The only way to get that email is by signing up for that email reminder. So there we go. I guess I've been playing for a good while now, so I probably should wish you all good evening. I have a tip jar, and I should mention that again. The tip jar link is joerobinson.com/tipjar, TIPJAR. If you want to support the music, that's a wonderful way to do so. You can also share the stream if you enjoy this and want to share it. On Facebook, press share or however you want to do it. That's very much appreciated. And you can listen to my new songs on Spotify or Apple Music or Tidal. Tidal, I think, has the best sound quality. Amazon Music also has good sound quality, but it's not very pleasant to use from my understanding. But Spotify is what most people are listening to these days. I have some Spotify playlists that I've downloaded on my phone that are like music that I would be ashamed for anyone to know I'm listening to, like kind of trashy pop music, which is interesting to study from like a production standpoint, but it just sounds right with the crappy Spotify quality. But then on Tidal, I have my favorite albums of all time downloaded to my phone in high quality. Albums like George Benson's Breezin', and boy, it's really nice to listen to those with the fidelity of Tidal. So anyway, you can listen to my music on all of those services. And thanks very much for tuning in. Ashley says, stoked to see you at the Shane Center in July. Love from Livingston. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm very excited. We have a new show that was announced in Livingston, Montana, which is close by where I live. And it's a concert with Dave Grusin and my friend Audrey Hall. And the three of us are going to perform a kind of a variety hour, variety show. We're going to be playing together. Dave Grusin is a really inspiring person to me. He's 90 years old now, and he wrote so many incredible film scores, including The Graduate, and he's just such a well-decorated musician and one of the greats on one of the piano greats. Speaking of Tidal, go and pull up Dave Grusin's albums. They're absolutely spectacular. And there's a PBS documentary on him, I believe. And I'm very excited about that show. It's just going on sale, I believe. So that'll be a real blast in June here in Livingston, Montana. So I wish you all a great rest of the weekend. I'm going to go and do a little exercise. That's my exciting Saturday night. Beetle says, I love you from Japan. Thank you very much, Beetle. I appreciate that. Much love. Back to you. Channel Bill says, listening from 100 kilometers south of Perth in Australia. Great to have live Aussie music to enjoy. Thank you so much, Bill. That's awesome. Yeah, it's wild, isn't it? The world is such a small place sometimes. I'm up here in the Rocky Mountains of Montana, and there you are in Perth. I think Perth is one of the most isolated cities in the world, and you're 100 k's south of there, so I know it's beautiful, and I hope to get back to that part of the world someday. Anyway, have a great rest of your weekend. Thanks very much for tuning in, everybody, and I'll see you all again for another video, another song, and another stream.